Jimmy with the Triple C Collective here, and I'm ready to bring you episode 3 of season 1 of the Acolyte, Destiny. Today we're opening with a flashback. Brenda, 16 years ago. So we find, I was like, oh my god, at the start of this episode, oh my god, we're getting it. We're getting the answers that we need, that we've been, kind of teased basically these first couple of episodes, figuring out what happened on Brenda, why Osha ended up going with Soul, and why everyone thought May was pronounced dead, and maybe hinting at something else. But yeah, so either way, we're opening on Brenda. We're at this yellow tree. We see Osha and a humming type bird thing there, and we see her wielding the Force, basically, or what we would call the Force, and she's wielding it, using it, not necessarily in a super mean way, but using it with the hummingbird and whatnot. May calls out to her and is it's Osha, where are you? What are you doing out here? Why are you by the Boonta tree? We find out that those yellow leaves of that tree and stuff is a Boonta tree, which is the poison that Torben used in the previous episode. And but yeah, so we get them talking. May actually almost hurts that hummingbird, and Osha's stop, and it's also talking about with May, Osha is saying that she's doesn't want to do the ascension, she kind of doesn't want to do it, and May's we're gonna do it together, and Osha's I want to stay a little longer, and May's let's go home, let's go home, and they do a little saying that they have, that we kind of heard in episode at the end of episode 1, when Osha was kind of running with a young May. You are me, I am, or you are with me, I am with you. And then we get May being Oshi, I am with you, always one, but born as two. As above sits the stars, and below lies the sea. I give you you, you give me me. And so they're going around in a circle. It's very reminiscent of very childhood, childhood playground rhymes and stuff. It's very reminiscent of Ring Around the Rosie to me, or at least that was one that I grew up with as a kid and stuff, playing on the playground and everything. So that was for sure something that very much so stuck out to me, and it also felt very witches doing a dance in the forest, which is more or less what we kind of spoilers find out to be, because we get their mother, Coral, who comes in and is girls, what are you doing? It's not safe to be outside the walls, and they're we're sorry, there's gonna be consequences for this, and they're this isn't fair, and they're we should be old enough to go outside the walls, and Mother Coral's the rules are for your safety, come quickly. And then we see Soul is actually creeping in the forest and sees them, sees these little girls going away with Mother Coral, and then we get the title sequence, which is great. I love the title sequence. We've got those dual O's basically, for the O and Acolyte, one hinting red and then the other one hinting blue, so that's really cool. We've been seeing them move kind of closer and closer together throughout. And then we are in a fortress, basically in a mountain. Kind of looks like stadium seating, it's carved out of a mountain and stuff like that. It's really cool. They have a market and stuff there. We're talking about spice cream, which is always nice to kind of hear, because Dune was an influence on Star Wars originally, and they have spice and stuff in there. So, but who doesn't love a good old sweet treat? Mother Coral's like, after going outside and breaking the rules, no, you get nothing. You get nothing. But then we get Mother Anissa, who overrides that, and Coral's hurt a little bit. She's not too happy about that. The girls go off to like get ready to train / school, whatever. And then we get this very weird conversation between Mother Anissa and Mother Coral. Like Coral's Coral makes them leave, and they're asking like, did anyone see them? No sign of the Jedi. Scouts say that they moved like inward. The planet, should be safe for our coven. Coral's worried like, Osha keeps running, it won't be. And Mother Niece is like, speak your mind. Coral's like, as the leader, I've deferred to you with the twins. I think you're too lenient. They need a firm hand is required. And Mother Anissa is just like, she's testing boundaries. Osha's just testing boundaries. Normal behavior for children, for a child. And then we get like the Mother Coral being like, this is not normal. Like twins is not normal children. Then we get a really unique, and then we get the training kind of class. Excuse me. Now, Mother Anissa is talking about how all things are connected by the same thread. Now, this should be ringing bells off for basically anyone that has been up to date with the live action TV shows, especially if you're up to date with Ahsoka. Because spoilers, we get the Night Sisters, which are witches in Ahsoka, which were like first introduced back during the Clone Wars and have continually popped up throughout like Dave Filoni's little like animated universe, and now into the live action stuff with like the Mando era. So they're talking about a thread, everything being connected. This is cool. This is very like similar to like the Force and everything. More or less, they are talking about the Force. It's just another way of like people tapping into it. But they talk about it as a thread, and I specifically say the Ahsoka thing because the Great Mother of the Dathomiri witches in Ahsoka talk about the thread talking to them, and that's how they all get connected and stuff there. But we we get a they like grab a fruit, and they put it between May and Osha, and Mother Anissa's like continue talking. Some call it a force. Okay, I was like, okay, yeah, we are talking about the same thing. Excellent when we heard that. And then that also led me to the question: is like, are we seeing early versions of the Dathomir witches? Witches, Jesus. Blue milk's really good. And but like like Mother Anissa, she's talking about how like the thread is not just like a power you wield. It's you can pull the thread and change everything, ties you to destiny, binds you to others. And then we get May and Osha kind of messing around in the background. Mother Anissa, she is now like force pushing another member of the coven to again show, not like in a like bad or fight manner, it's all training, showing how you can wield this power basically. And then we get the power of one. Anissa nods, and another one gets up, the power of two, again, and then two now are against Anissa to do something, and it's like it's awesome. Like the other two are like holding hands, similar to like the ending of like Guardians of the Galaxy. So it seems like they each have a hand up and they're holding each other's hand here, and they're like trying to like basically, make a circuit, channel each other's like force power to then both like you know um, accentuate their individual powers as they fight against Mother Anissa, and like she's still stronger than the other two, and like that's why she's their leader and everything, and is still able to push them back. And then we get the last bit of like the power of two there, and like I love how like the entire time Mother Anissa is like doing the Dragon Ball Z like hold. It's like great. This then they're talking about how the ceremony experience, the power of many. Osha and May are still fighting in the background. The mother, like, I guess, like, thread pushes them would be a better way to call it. Asks them to block, and May blocks, and Osha runs and hides behind May. Anissa praises May. Coral scolds Osha, saying that she expected more. There's like and then the girls are basically sent to the room. Anissa, May, and Osha, they're at their house. Osha is staring out a window. Her mother's like, "What's wrong? Nervous about tonight?" And she's like, "Is it true? She scared you. Let your sister answer. Don't worry." Like, this is a really unique conversation here. Like Osha's really scared about doing this ascension. May is just like, "We got to do it. What are you talking about? There's no other thing you would do without it. I don't know why you would even like question all this." And like Nissa's like, "You may need to shut up and let your sister Osha like speak for herself and talk." And Osha's basically like, "I don't want to do the ascension." And May is super confused, and she's like, "But that's how we become witches." So here we get it confirmed. And like Osha's like, "I don't know if I want to be a witch." And May again is of course answering like in like certainty for Osha, being like, of course you want that. And Osha's like, "No, May, you may want that." Then Anissa calls them together and is like, "Girls, come, hold hands. The thread tied you together before you were born. Say I love you. Say I love you." And then May's like, they each say I love you. May then to Osha's like, "Don't be afraid, Oshi." The ascension, like that her mom's like, "Explain it. The ascension is about walking through fear, sacrificing a part of yourself, power of many instead of the power of one. Think you want something different because you are young. Galaxy is not a place that really welcomes women like us." Like, damn, that was heavy. For a multitude of like levels there, hearing that. And like Anissa's like, "Witches who have the abilities that you do, you and your sister are special, And Anissa's like, "You want to stay special?" Then we get the May and Osha getting ready for the ascension. They're getting their hair done. They're getting their like hair done together, and May is asking about spice creams, how many she's gonna have, how many Osha's gonna have. May's like, "I'm having 4. Osha's just drawing, and is like, just drawing it herself, and like May like reaches for it and it's like, "Show me what you're drawing." And Osha's like, I don't want to. This is for me." And May is like, "I don't understand why you don't want to share everything with me. Like, I want to share everything with you." And Osha's just like, "I want some things for myself." And like, I don't want to do everything all together, like together all the time. I like to have my own things. And May's just like, but why? Because, and Osha's like kind of frustrated now at this point because we're not the same. And like May's like, of course we are. And and then Osha drops the real bomb, the the thing that I hadn't even really kind of noticed up until this point here of Brendock. But Osha's like, to May, it only feels that way, that we have to do everything together all the time because we are the only kids here. And then we get a quick like little wide shot, and the people, like the hairdressers basically, are like kind of like go from looking at the hair, looking up at each other and kind of giving like concerned looks, and then back down at the girls. And man, that's it's curious. You got to ask those questions. Why is this happening? Why is it like that? I don't really know. I don't really know why any of that is happening, and it's a great question there. And they're like, Osha's like, you don't wonder what's like out there, very like Luke like wondering what else is out there besides Tatooine, joining the academy and all that stuff that Luke wants to do. And she's like, besides Brendock? And he's like, no. And why not? And Osha's like, why not? Why don't you wonder about what anything else is like out there or anything else like that? And Osha's just like, because everything I need is right here. I don't need anything else. Then we get a nice little cut to the Ascension ceremony, and the witches are like dancing in front of like this big like well. Mother Anissa like is moving like forward and beginning a speech. She's like, this is something we have not performed since our exile. We've been hunted, persecuted, forced into hiding because some consider our power dark, unnatural. And we've been brought to the brink of extinction. But we were blessed with a miracle, the gift of life. We get some like real creepy witch laughs here, and that's like so it's not meant to be funny. It's really creepy, but it is kind of funny in the fact that it's like very stereotypical to hear like witches like cackling and whatnot. So it was great to hear here. I don't want to sound like I'm punching down on it. I'm saying that it was funny because I liked it. It was a good laugh. It wasn't like oh my god, this is a stupid laugh. But then the girls, May and Osha, come forward, and Mother Anissa's like, come claim your destiny. Girls kneel, before Mother Anissa. She puts her hands on the girls. They begin their chant, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. We get Mayho, Anissa. So now we find out Mother Anissa, that's their last name. And you would assume Mother Coral, that's her last name as well. But we get Mayho Anissa vow upon my death to protect the secrets of the covenant and continue our legacy. She's like, I do. Puts forth the power, basically, like, because we see Mother Anissa kind of going like this and then going kind of like that. And so puts forth the power to May, and then a similar cinder. So like we see in the middle of Mother Anissa's forehead is like basically a bunch of white dots and like a circle around, and it basically takes up like her whole forehead here. We see the same thing kind of going over on May's like left side of like her head. Then we get Virosha and Asaya. And do you vow upon my death, protect our secrets of our coven, and continue our legacy? Um, there's a pause, and then we get a notification that like the Jedi are coming, and all the witches are like, hide them, do not move, do not make a sound. Archers, string your bows, put them down, and that's all. Mother Coral kind of like orders up until that point, and then Mother Ananisa is it's like no violence. The Jedi enter. Now this is when we meet Indara. We meet Padawan Torvin, Kalnaka, Sol, Ananisa. Wow, how did I start jacking that up? Anasea, Mother Anasea. She's like the mother of this coven. These women are under my protection. You are trespassing. And Indara's like, forgive our intrusion. We thought this planet was uninhabited. And then we get Coral being like, the all-knowing Jedi, ignorant of their surroundings? Find that hard to believe. So then Osha's kind of like moving up in the background, trying to see who these Jedi are because she's curious. She wants to know. And Dara's like, we mean you and your coven no harm. And Anastasia like, but yet here you are, unannounced, armed, and like Osha's like, look at the robe, how they carry their sabers. Coral, told us to stay back. It's like what May's saying. Like, what do you want? Now, and Anasaia's like, what do you want? And she's like, we're concerned you are training children. Republic law states, and Anasaia's like, Brendock is not a part of the Republic. There are no children here. Kalnaka can either sense or smell the girls. I don't really know. But like at some point he starts kind of looking at like back where they are, and there's some like shifting around, and like eventually they call out. Like Indara calls out, and Osha like sticks her heads out, and Sol goes to meet Osha. She comes forward, and then Sol asks like, may we meet your sister? May comes forward, and then Indara asks like, where's their father? And then we get the similarity to Anakin here of there is no father. Sol sees the marking on May's forehead, and he's like, that was not there this morning. And Mother Coral is pissed because that confirms that they were spying. And is like, they want to take the children. And they're like, Jedi do not take children. Hold your tongue or cut it out. And they unhook, and like Sol unhooks his lightsaber. And Indara's like, no, Sol, no. And Sol just gives a nod like, hey, trust me, I got this. And Sol hands extended out the lightsaber to Osha. And it's like, you'd be a very good Jedi, Osha. Want to be tested and maybe become one? Mother Anasea kind of looks over at Torben and takes over Torben. And is basically like, if you want him returned, I suggest you all leave right now. Osha's like, I want to show them what you taught me. Please let me take the test. And Indara kind of comes in and is like, we Jedi here, have a right to test a Padawan. What? This isn't the Republic, lady. Like, This isn't the Republic. You have no right to anything. What are you talking about? Like, your claims mean nothing. She does, like, Inadar does correct herself by adding, like, with your permission there, Torben is released. And Anna is like, the scouts will bring Osha to your camp by midday. So it's like, both girls. Sister too. Mother Anasea agrees. You know, the Jedi leave, and Anasea is like, gather my advisors. Girls go to bed. The witch advisors are like Coral's like, we got to make our move now. While the moon is high, you know, like we got to go attack them right this second. Another witch is like, Coral, keep your head. You know, one drop of Jedi blood and the Republic would destroy us. Like, and Coral is like, there are 4 Jedi. Who would miss them? Mother Anasea moves forward and is like, we must let them test the girls. Coral's like, no. And Anasea is like, we do not have a choice. Osha wants to do it. She is a child, old enough to know what she wants. And Coral's like, I did not. This is what I meant. I spoke of like an interesting conversation earlier. It was less earlier. It's more so now. Of like, Coral's like, I did not bring these girls into the world to lose them to deranged monks. And Anna says like, it's not your decision. It is mine. I have made it. And you know, or I'm sorry, that was Anasea saying that I did not bring these girls in the world to, you know, lose them to deranged monks. It's not your decision. It is mine. And I have made it. And Coral's like, I carried them. And I had so many questions about that. And Anasea is like, I created them. And then there's the question of what happens if the Jedi discover how you created them. The test has 2 outcomes. Then another witch, like an older witch, like a great creature feature, basically shows up and is like, it's pass or fail. Girl, you know, pass. You know, the girls pass, they leave. Want them to stay, they need to fail. Then there's a meeting before the test with Mother Anasea, May, and Osha. And they're basically like, the girls are like, how will we know how to fail? And Anasea is like, don't, like, we don't, like, they're like, we don't know what they're gonna ask you. But Anasea is like, whatever's in your heart, say the opposite. We pass the test and they take us away. Never see Mama again. You know, they take you, and then May's like, they take you, I'll stop them. More or less, May has lived up to that up until this point. Really kind of seems to be the point so far. May getting revenge for these events right here. And Osha's like, no one's taking me. You know, May is like, the Jedi are bad, and Osha's like, they are good. And Anastasia like, it's not about good or bad. It's about power and who is allowed to use it. Very powerful. You're a very powerful girl. Right now, you want to be a Jedi. But when you grow up, you know, your wants change. Things shift. Like the seasons, you know, winter we hunt with bunta, summer bows and arrows. And Osha's like, yeah, but we still hunt. You know, that doesn't change. And then Mother Coral comes in and says that they're ready to head out. So we get to the Jedi ship. The testing is taking place, basically. Witches are leading them through the woods to get to a clearing. May, you know, Osha's saying, like, May, I don't want to lie. You know, I want to say what's in my heart. And, like, May's like, you have to lie. May goes first. And it's like, promise me. I promise. Kelnaka's working on a speeder. Um, Familiar with like Chewie and Han, always like tweaking things and whatnot. So May finishes the test happy as a clam. She clearly like failed it and made sure that she failed it. Um, Osha, is being brought in. Talks to Torben. If all Jedi like get one, talking about a lightsaber, and he's like, yeah, eventually. They Torben just straight up says, I got to take a blood sample. So it's like again that early like nod to like the midichlorians and stuff being in like the blood and everything like that. Um, so we get a like tell us what you see basically is the test. Like Soul has whatever kind of like device up and she's just supposed to guess it. Like we've also seen this in Ghostbusters with Bill Murray. Same kind of test, and like so Osha gets it wrong, gets the first one wrong. Soul says that Osha was correct. Osha gets the second answer wrong. Soul says, correct. And Osha is like, that wasn't a mountain. And then Soul's like, are you throwing the game here? Like, what are we doing here? And so yeah, like did someone tell you to fail? And family, like they kind of start like reading her mind a little bit, kind of started reading her feelings. Family doesn't want you to be separated from them, and like Soul's like, what do you want, Osha? So Soul tells like Osha that he was tested at 4, but he always knew that he was different from his family. The Jedi saw how different, he was. And he's like, I see that in you. And, being scared to leave is like, okay, but the Jedi had many other like me. And like many other people like me. And Osha's like, children there? And they're like, yeah, but you must have the courage to say what's in your heart. She's like, I want to be a Jedi. You must have the courage to tell the truth. We should continue the test. And then they cut to like Osha walking. May runs up. Osha won't look at May. May runs off. Kelnaka, calls over. And was like, ah. And then we're at the witch coven. May is mad, like Mother, like Coral, as they're at this point, 3rd episode, we don't know who the stranger is. Is May's master the stranger, Mother Coral? So Mother Coral is super mad, super angry. So we'll see. And like May's like, she promised that she would fail. She broke her promise. She told the truth. And like Osha's like, it was the right thing to do. And like Osha's mom says like, only if it were so simple, Osha. She's like, I didn't want to lie. And May's like, you lied to me. And like Coral's like, the man used the Jedi mind tricks on her. And like May's like, no, he didn't. Told him I wanted to be a Jedi because I do. And like May and Coral are like, you don't mean that. And Osha's like, I do. I want my own life. I don't want to share it with like May. Like totally fair, Osha. Like be your own person. Like go do that. She's like, I want to see the galaxy. I don't want to be a witch. And then from May to like Osha, like, what's wrong with you? And then those two kind of start to fight. And May gets the classic, go take a walk. Go walk it off. Go blow off some steam over there. So May and Mother Coral take a walk. And we get like, Mama, what's wrong with you? Like being called back, and like May just doesn't understand why Anastasia is not letting her stay there. Why she's letting Osha do all that stuff. So now Osha and Anastasia are alone. Osha sits next to Anastasia, and Osha's like, "I'm sorry," and Mom's like, "Stop. Listen to me. Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. You get to make a choice. If you want to pull the thread, pull it. Do it. Go do this." And Osha's like, "I won't ever see you again," and Anna like, "You won't." And again, we get this heard here from her mother, like, fear should not make the decision. You should. And she's like, "I want to become a Jedi, Mama. I do." And they do a good, hugs goodbye, basically. And then Mother Anastasia is, she's wiping away tears and stuff. It's pretty emotional. She's like, "I must discuss this situation with everyone here. And we will consider your wish when we do so." Osha's in her room, and Osha is packing up her room, packing up everything. Grabs her book of drawings and everything, getting ready to pack that away. May comes in, grabs the book. May and Osha fight, and then May locks Osha in her room, and it's like, "Let me out, let me out." And May's like, "I won't let it happen. Won't let it happen." But May grabs a lantern here, burns the book of drawings, and basically drops it and engulfs, and basically the whole door engulfs with flame. And May runs away. Osha begins to then hotwire the emergency exit, more or less, the hidden exit, more or less, another door, and gets out. It just kind of reminded me of Shawshank Redemption, and exiting through the wall, Andy Dufresne did, digging out and whatnot like that. So that was always so that was really awesome and really great to see, if I'm being honest. And then there fire starts just spreading like wildfire through it. Machinery is breaking down and everything that we see. Osha and May see each other. There's an explosion. They see each other. They kind of chase each other to some what am I thinking? Some metal bridges, basically, to go from one side to the other of this major cavern. And then there's a split in it. You would have to jump from one side or the other to get there. And then there's another fire explosion, earthquake kind of thing. We see basically May falls off that catwalk bridge thing. Osha is falling, but is barely saved by Sol, and they make their way through. Sol pulls up Osha. They make their way through the rest of the coven, and we see a bunch of death. We see their mother. The whole coven is burning down, and then we get out of there, and we kind of do a zoom out of it, and we see the whole coven is just up in flames. It's awful. The whole thing is up in flames. We get to the Jedi ship, and Osha just kind of jumps awake a little bit, like what we saw in episode 1. She's asking for her mama, and Sol is like, "She'll be okay. She'll be okay." She's like, "Where am I? Where am I? I don't know where I am." And he's like, "We're on our way to Coruscant." And Osha's like, "May started that fire. Destroyed everything." And Osha's like, "Wait, Mama and May, we have to go back." And Sol's like, "We can't." And Osha's like, "We must." And Sol's like, "There's nothing to go back there to. You'll be safe on Coruscant. And if you wish, you will train as my Padawan." Osha goes in for a hug, It's going to be okay. You know, you'll never feel like this again. I promise. Bam. End of episode 3. Destiny. So we got a lot of answers here to things. So we see May setting up the fire, but we don't see any of the like witches burned. Like they're not like blacked up, crispy, like a well done steak or anything. So I have some questions about that. Like, did they actually get killed there, or did the Jedi were the Jedi planning on attacking them no matter what, even if they were allowed to just take Osha? Like, were the Jedi really truly about to wipe out this witch coven and take both of these kids here and bring them in, bring them to the Jedi Order? Tough look for the Jedi here. They're not looking good. But I mean, this is right before their downfall. So this is where the chips in the foundation really start to show of things that things that they were doing that they definitely shouldn't have been. So it's really interesting to see this. I really liked episode 3. Episode 3 was great. I wonder though if there is me and one of my friends, friend of the pod, we were talking about what if we ended up seeing episode 3 first and then watching episode 1 and 2 like that, seeing how that chronological order works. So a lot of people were up in arms so far over this stuff, and I don't see it. I really like it. I'm intrigued with this world and what they're kind of setting up here and everything. I can't wait to see how the rest of this turns out. I'm really excited for it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up commentary track for episode 3, season 1 of the Acolyte, Destiny. I am Jimmy with the Triple C Collective. Hope you all stay safe. Please like and subscribe to our video and to our channel. And as always, may the Force be with you.